Afternoon again, guys. I just thought I'd do another quick story while it's sort of fresh in my memory. Yeah, what I was thinking about earlier on is, in this life, how easy it is to lose your life at any given moment, even if it's, you know, even if the cause is things that are out of your control, so to speak. So, yeah, I just want to do a quick story about that. I think a few of you will know the Thomas à Becket pub on the A2 there, the Old Kent Road. Um, Now that's been closed down, but it's a famous old pub for the gymnasium it had upstairs, the boxing gym back in the 70s and 80s, 90s even, but I think it closed in the 90s or turned into a restaurant or something like that. But I used to go around that area in the mid 80s, like as early as 86, 87, because it used to be one of the original sort of front lines. It wasn't just famous for boxing up that part of the Old Kent Road, it was famous for heroin as well. I mean, where that pub was, behind it, you had Kinglake Street and Mina Road, and years ago you just go up there if you didn't know anyone else to score gear from. You could just go up there and someone would approach you. It was called a front line, but the original front line in South London was Roughton Road, Brixton. I remember going there for weed as early as 84, 85, and then it all turned to crack, a bit later on in the 80s, early 90s. The same as a lot of places there, like Five Ways was the same, just round the corner there in Brixton. You had Armoury Way in Wandsworth. I used to go there in the about 84, 85, So yeah, but originally the Brixton Roughton Road was called the front line because that's where was the front line of the riots there in the early 80s, 82, 81 I think it was, so that's where that name came from. And then it sort of morphed into a drug saying, but yeah, back to the Old Kent Road, the reason I'm talking about that is because, this incident happened, like I say, I've been going up to the Old Kent Road for years on and off. I'd had a flat there, lived there for a while. But at this time, about 20 years ago, I was living at an ex-partner's flat who I had a couple of kids with. She was, her family originally from South America, and obviously she was born here. But and I was watching a podcast with someone on Ray Hill's channel yesterday about this. I remember that lady. I had a couple of kids, and both of us were drug addicts, sadly. But that's another story for another time, and I will be doing some stuff on that. But like I say, I'm estranged from my children at the moment. I have spoken to them recently, but I haven't seen them in person for many years. And that's obviously the problems that are caused due to substance abuse and all the problems it causes and stuff. Yeah, so back to the story. Yeah, so about 20 years ago, I was living between her house in Bromley. She had a flat in Bromley, and a friend's house on Old Kent Road there, just behind the Thomas à Becket. You've got Albany Road there that runs off for Burgess Park, and there's an estate there called the Aylesbury. Now my friend Spot, he's dead now, rest in peace, Nicky Pike, but yeah, he was known as Spot. Now he had a flat there on Wendover. I think it was the 9th or the 11th floor, I'm not sure which, but I was always there and staying there when I had nowhere else to go and stuff like that. But a lot of drug users used to go up there and stuff. Times I'd be sitting up there spending lots of money, and at that time I did have a few quid. I can't remember where from or what from, but I had a few quid, a few thousand at that time. And it was just before I was up at the Old Bailey for that aggravated burglary case that I have mentioned that in another video, and which I was found not guilty on, and I will be doing a story on that as well. So yeah, but this incident, like I say, I was staying at ex-girlfriend's flat in Bromley, and travelling between Bromley and Old Kent Road, which is only 2-3 miles away, you know, on my motorbike on a regular basis, or staying up there at my friend's house on Wendover, the block of flats there that look out onto Burgess Park there, you know, and that estate is still there as far as I know, even though I haven't been up to that manor for a few years. But yeah, so I was going up there, you know, and on my motorbike and stuff, and like I say, I had quite a bit of money, you know. I think I had been doing a bit of kiting and stuff at the time, so maybe from that. So I had quite a bit of money. So like I say, I've been going up there, and Old Kent Road opposite there, the Thomas à Becket where that used to be, there's a big Tesco's there, a superstore, and they've got like a bank of cash machines, you know. So I was going up there basically to meet drug dealers, you know, and get my gear, and then go either home to Bromley or round to Spot's flat, which is just across the street there, you know, really, from the Tesco. So I'd be going to the ATM machine and drawing out money, you know, and each time I was scoring, you know, I'd want to take out possibly a few £100, you know, because I was doing brown and white as well, you know. And I knew all the dealers up there, I'd known them for years, so I wasn't going to buy off people that I didn't know, you know, or they didn't know me, you know, so there was no risk of sort of being ripped off or anything like that, you know. So I remember going to the machine this one time, and say I was getting 200 out minimum, 300, whatever, maybe more, 500 at a time, and it was paying me out in £50 notes this one time, yeah. And I remember that. I think that's rare that the machines pay out in £50 notes. Maybe there's an excess of them in circulation and they want to get rid of them, you know. So this time I've met Spot there, you know, I've seen him, and I said, oh, I'm just about to score and that, and he went, oh, well, come up to my flat, I'm just going to see someone anyway as well, this geezer that we knew, this Yardy geezer. I won't say his name, but his name would have only been a street name anyway, you know. So I just call him Ace or whatever, you know. So basically I phoned up Ace, which I did know him anyway, so I'd been seeing him recently at that time, and I'd seen him before, but not since maybe 2-3 days previously, I think was the last time I'd seen him. So either I used to call him up, go and wait for him at Spot's flat on Wendover, or meet him in one of the blocks, or Spot would go out and meet him if I couldn't be bothered, you know, that sort of stuff. So this time I'm in the flat, and he said, we phoned him up, and he said, yeah, come and meet me in that, you know. And I've told him what I wanted. I don't know, couple of each or whatever. I think it was like 2 and 2 or something, 2 of each. And Spot stayed in the flat, and I said, all right, then I'll go and meet him, you know. So I had to meet him, not in Wendover, in the next block. I can't even remember what the next block's called, Winslow or something like that. So I've gone down out of his flat, down in the lift or whatever, down in the stairs, walked along the street. You know, my car's parked out there as well on the street there, and then I've gone up into the block to meet him, you know. So when I've gone up to the floor where he's on, 5 off, and I'm meeting him, you know, in the hallways to the entrance to the flats there. I think it was the 5th floor or whatever. I've seen a couple of other people that I know, you know, lurking around corners, who were obviously waiting for him and that, you know. One of them I knew well, actually, one of my mates, Colin there, you know, I see him there. But when it was my turn to see him, yeah, to see AC to get my bits, you know, I had the 40 quid or whatever in my hand, you know, the two £20 notes, whether it was, or 45 quid, I can't remember now, and I had the car keys in the other hand, you know. And I've gone over to meet him. I've seen the other guys, Colin and that, walk off because they've seen him. And then I've gone over to meet him, just to put my hand out, you know, expecting him to give me the gear and that. But instead of that, he's pulled out, he's got a revolver in his hand, and he's pointing it straight at me. And my instant reaction was, I just put my hands up, you know, and then he's got the barrel of the gun. It looked like a little relic from World War II. It was a revolver, but in my opinion, it was definitely real, you know, and I thought, fuck. You know, I didn't really think anything. I just put my hands up and I went, listen, mate, calm down before you do anything. You know, I really did think he was going to shoot me. And then he took a deep breath, and what he done was, he said, give me that and give me that. He took the car keys and the money out of my hand and then just fucked off. And as he was doing that, he was saying, do one to me and that. And I thought, do you know what? I've got to leave that, allow it, and then just allow that and go. So I bolted down the stairs, down 5 flights, out of the, you know, I'm even getting heavy breathing just thinking about this story, out of the building, Windsor I think it was, and then from there I would have had to done a left to go back to spots at Wendover. But what I realised, I got my phone in my back pocket. He didn't take my phone or anything, you know, that was in my pocket, it just wasn't in my hand. So I rung Spot up. And I was just sort of like half walking really fast away from where my car was, because I couldn't get back into that because he had the keys. Some old banger I had, I don't even know, I can't even remember what car it was, some little hatchback. So yeah, I'm going towards Wendover now, down towards Burgess Park, so where Spot lives. You know, and I'm on the phone to him at this moment saying, do you know what, yeah, I just had this little turnout with AC, you know, he's just threatened to shoot me and that. And he said to me that it was over. I've given him a moody £50 note and all this, yeah. And I said to Spot, so what do you know about this? And he went, I'll talk to you in a minute and that, you know. And as I was going down, nearer to Spot's block, Wendover, I see AC again, crouched down behind a wall, yeah, as though he's waiting for someone. And basically what it was, Spot's come down the stairs at that second, and I'm thinking, oh dear, he's gonna do Spot with it. And I've seen him crouching down, waiting for Spot, and I thought, fuck that. And I've just gone straight over Albany Road and into the park and legged it into a sort of further distance so I could have a look from a distance. So I got a couple of 100 yards away, and then I see Spot putting his hands up, and then them two going towards each other and talking as if it looked like they'd, you know, maybe talked about something, and it looked like things might have been worked out. So I see that, and I decided to turn round from the direction I was going in the park and walk back towards Spot's flat. And then when I was there, they was just walking into the lift area of Wendover, and I caught up to them and I said, what's going on, lads? What the fuck is going on? What was all that about? And then all the stories come out. Apparently, someone has given AC some fake £50 notes, and there was a lot of £50 notes around that manor back then, about 20 years ago. There was a big run of them, you know, and he was trying to find out who'd given him the snide 50s, and someone had put my name into the frame. I don't know why, and that's just basically coincidence, because I had been scoring a few times before with £50 notes, because that's what the machine was paying out at Tesco's. You know, mad coincidence as it seems, but that's what it was. Andy told me who had put the story out there, and I won't say the person's name, but it's someone who was a little bit, obviously had feelings for me and was a little bit bitter about everything, and just put my name into the frame. But yeah, so we sorted that out, and he realised, you know, all the money I'd given him was always good. He gave me my car keys back, yeah, and he gave me the gear that I was meant to have paid for, the money he'd already took, and a couple of bits extra, and he was really apologetic about it, you know, which was good. And I thought I handled it really well, you know. When I told my mate, Spot, you know, I heard his arse going, you know, when he knew that someone was after him and they was tooled up and all that, you know. So yeah, I thought I handled it really well and that. But yeah, and after that I did, you know, shortly after that I ended up at the Old Bailey, and I am going to do a story about that, guys. Yeah, so yeah, just a little story there. So, you know, even if you've done nothing wrong, you can still get roped into stuff, and you can lose your life at any time over the silliest of things that you've done or you haven't done, you know. So yeah, just a quick one there, guys, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully do another one soon. Cheers, guys.